Hello everyone, this is Don back with the next progress report on the Corsair. Alright, I got the canopy trim frame all done, painted and installed, and while I painted the thing, I mentioned I needed to put a little bit of overspray of the dark onto the side of the lower cowl there so you can see where that's going to blend so it won't have a definitive line. It'll be a little more like that. Both sides, I only needed to go about an inch or so. And then with the cowl flaps sticking out away from the fuselage, if it's not lined up perfectly, it's going to kind of basically hide itself. I just painted it on the bench here. I just laid it down this way and shot it down at an angle just to kind of keep it, I shot it, like this angle, blowed it down that way. So that's all done and dry, but it'll still be sensitive to touch. Alright, then finally got the excuse me, cowling, the cowl trim finished, and what I ended up doing, if you can see them, I put 2 rows of rivets. There's 10 rivets right there, little 3/32 countersink rivets, because that's where it's welded. So I cut out the foam in the back, made a little backer strip, drilled it, squeezed them, bucked those rivets in, and then I did the same. This is the one that was popped loose here. There's four rivets holding that together, and I put a little microballoon slurry mix in there to fill it in before I did it. And I filled in some spots here with the slurry. As you can see this here, I took a hammer and I bent this piece of stainless down, and then I backfilled it with the slurry. I wasn't able to sand it today. I just did all this yesterday. It was still it was still soft this morning. It wasn't completely cured. It feels better now, but I'll get to it over the weekend. I'm pretty much done with it for the week now. So I'll just lightly sand it. Then I had the blue I sprayed for that and that. I had some left. I put it in a bottle, threw it in the freezer to keep it from curing. So then I'll come out and I'll respray this just with my touch-up gun. This needs sanded down, as well as this one looks pretty good. And then you can see I did finish putting them last 2 pieces in. I spent like 2 hours this morning getting these damn things fitted. Because one, the cowling, or the fuel tank, is setting high on this, so I had to kind of hold it, pull the tank over to this corner in order to drill it. Now there's a nut plate on the inside there, so the screws go in, so that's done. Fuel tank installation is finished. Same on this side. That was the front one that was already done. Looks like it's moved out of place a little bit. And then the back one. So again, a little sanding here and here to fill it, and then I gotta touch all this up. I've got enough paint left to, I don't know if I'll try and spray that. I need some sanding. I might try and just blend it in. Shoot it. So the fuel tank installation is now complete. Just get these finished up, sand it out, get some paint on it, and it'll be done. Get some paint on this. The reason I tapped this over, because with the cowl flaps in here now, you can see this edge of that fiberglass, that stainless firewall. Down here, it's more inside the fuselage, but up here it was rounded and it was sticking out, so I just backfilled it with some slurry, and I'll lightly sand it off, and then I'll shoot the dark on that this coming weekend. Now there's a floor for the seat floor. So that's kind of what I got done. In order to do these little buck rivets, the rivets I had, one of my subscribers sent me some rivets when they needed to make the actual mounts that the cowl bolts to. He sent me 2 sizes. These are the long ones, and these are the shorter ones. I couldn't find these suckers. I didn't find them until after I was done. But what I did is I made me a little jig. Oh, I also mentioned last video I showed this was the dimpler for the cowling, but I forgot to show you the other half of this tool. As you can see, it's got a 1/4 inch, 100, no, it's 45-degree taper on that. So when I put it in the cowling, and then smacked on her there till it bottomed out, and it made those perfect indentations in the trim on the canopy. So, oh, my big mess. So this is my little jig I made right here. So these are the long things. I countersunk it just enough so I can get the right length. It's not completely flush because I needed it to be a little short. And then all I did was took this chisel, sharpened her up, set it on the rivet, holded it with my finger back here, and then if you hit it swift enough with one smack, you could cut right through them. Sometimes, I'm just using a light hammer on that, but sometimes it'd take 2 whacks, and if it did, the second whack kind of peened it, smeared it down a little bit, and they were a little tough to get out. I had to use a little screwdriver to poke them out, but that's all I did. I had to crimp 2 of these together, as you can see here, to get the thickness I needed for the length of the rivet. So they're very, very short, because you're only going through 60 thousandths aluminum, just 2 pieces of 30. So that was my little cheap rivet cutter. They actually do sell rivet cutters for doing just this purpose. So it's legal to cut rivets down, and they needed to be real short. So that's kind of what I got done. It all looks good now, and that should blend in a lot nicer. So the next thing is finish that tank up, get that cleaned up, get it painted this weekend, and that'll be done. One last thing is the computer. It's still just kind of sitting here, so I've got to drill a couple holes and remount it under here. I did get this all glued in. I got a couple rivets or staples in there to hold it down while it glued up. I just used the epoxy from this stuff. I used the straight epoxy first, glued it up, stapled it down, and then I mixed a slurry in it to make this stuff to fill it all in. So I think that's about all I got to report. Nothing else to do on this other than come in here and get some of these things locked in place so they're not going to be chafing on anything. The water lines, muffler again is all finished. Everything up here is finished. Coolant sensors, everything's finished. Holes plugged. Throttle's ready. The other day I ordered a lithium battery. So I've got a new battery coming, about $110. This one's only 450 cold cranking amps. This one's only 300, and it has way more enough power to roll this motor over. So, like Joe had a 750. I did find some of them. They were closer in the $180, $200 price range, and I'm going to try that. The problem with lithium is you got to make sure you get the right type of battery charger for them. They got to charge at like 14.5 volts. So my old, well, it's not old, it's a newer style charger. This one here, it's not good for. It's just for lead acid, and it's not a charger for lithium. So I'm gonna have to find me a specific charger just for this battery. And then once I get this started up and running again, I need to recheck the charging voltage of the alternator and see if it's outputting over 14. I need 14.5 volts to keep the battery properly charged when it's running. And to do that, there's a procedure. You can add some diodes into the LED light circuit, because what a diode does, every diode has a voltage drop. You put 12 volts in, it'll come out 11 point something, and every time you add an extra diode, it's going to drop that voltage drop. Every diode has a voltage drop across it. There is no perfect diodes. So every time you have a diode, it lets voltage go in, but it won't let it come back. So people are stacking these things in series to cut down the voltage, not mentioning that diodes create a voltage drop. And all you're doing is, it's not the sense line, it's just the line for the light that you hook them into, and you can, by dropping that voltage down, well, I think one of the alternators are actually using the sense line, because you're supposed to hook it up to your bus bar or something in the car, fuse panel, because the voltage down there will be different than the voltage coming out of the alternator, and you want to see the sense. So what you're doing is you're telling the thing it's only at 13 volts. So the alternator kicks it up higher output here. So the diodes is kind of a thing, but in modern cars, the computer controls for the engines controls the alternators, and that's what it's doing, is it's monitoring voltage on a rail somewhere. So then alternator output. So if you can tell it it's seeing lower voltage than it is, the alternator will output higher. So you just do that to bring the voltage up. So I'll be taking this out. That's 13 pounds. The new one is only 3 pounds. So there's 10 more pounds off of there. So I'm I'm guessing 30-40 pounds I've taken off the front of this plane. Again, I moved the engine forward 1.5 inches, so that's going to offset some of the weight. The battery used to be down here, now it's up there, but the muffler used to be back there, now it's up there, so that weight shifted forward, battery shifted back. Now I'm going to limit. I'm going to take off all that weight of the battery and just go to 3-pound battery, so that's going to free up some more weight. So it's definitely going to need, people ask, oh, you're going to have to do a rebalance, and like, yes. Same thing with the seat. The airplane will get weighed empty and level, no fuel, gear down, everything on 3 wheels. Aircraft has to be leveled. Weigh it, that's the empty weight, that'll get put into the formula. And then my propeller flange, now this is 1.5 inches farther forward than it was before, but the propeller is in the exact same spot. But the datum line for my measurement was from this flange. So now my measurements from the flange to the wheels is going to be 1.5 inches farther. And then that means the CG limits, I have to move all that into paperwork so it all falls in the correct place, because you're working with the datum. I could go with 8.5 inches from there, and then the rest of this stuff will stay the same. But by changing the seat, laying that back, it's going to throw my body weight back a little bit. I'm going to shift back a little bit from the floor, and it's going to offset it some. But you do that after the plane is weighed empty, then you get in it, reweigh it, do the math backwards, and it'll give you the datum point for the pilot. And then, you know, different people have different body proportions, weight up higher, weight down lower. It's not going to be exact, but it'll be close. And it's my airplane, nobody else is going to fly it, so it is what it is. So I guess that's going to about do her. So that's what the new canopy and the new trim frame. Thanks to my Kevin, my friend down in Alabama. He's the one that sent me the canopy. I made him a spinner for his plane. So it's got a nice better curve to it. Looks nice. It's finally done. I'm done with that thing. All right, I guess that's going to do her, folks. I'm going to cut her off here. Let you guys watch my little Cyberman from, one guy mentioned looked like a Cyberman from Doctor Who. So it kind of looks more like a minion from the little yellow minions. If it had one hole, it looked like the one-eyed one with the goggles. So, all right, everyone. Again, next thing, I'm going to get in there and chop out that seat, and I'll work on that. I'll probably be tearing onto that this weekend. All right, I'm going to go now. So, as always, appreciate everybody taking time to watch my videos. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns. As always, appreciate them. And don't be afraid to leave comments. And I see there's, they only last a couple days, and then they slow down quite a bit. So, but anyway, it's all appreciated. And I will see you guys again, most likely Sunday. And I'll have probably most of this stuff all put back together. And it'll be getting to the point where I need to restart the motor, get the computer hooked up to it, check some things out, and then get her outside. The last couple days have been really nice here. Just cold. Waking up in the morning, it's 40 degrees, frost, and it's not getting over about 50 degrees. So, all right, that's going to do her, folks. I will catch you guys again on Sunday. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you then. For now, this is Down and Done Out.